Today we are going to discuss the Planck's law of blackbody radiation. In previous classes, we have discussed other distribution laws, that is mainly Wien's distribution law and Rayleigh-Jeans distribution law. And we have noted that the previous distribution laws, which were based on classical considerations, that means the features of classical mechanics, the amount of physics according to classical theory that was known at that point of time, considering those and in some empirical ways, many distribution laws were developed. Quite a few distribution laws were developed, and the most important of them were Wien's distribution law and Rayleigh-Jeans distribution law. And we also discussed that Wien's distribution law fails when the wavelength lies in the longer region, and the Rayleigh-Jeans law fails when the wavelength lies in the shorter region. And the failure of Rayleigh-Jeans law in the shorter wavelength region is known in literature as ultraviolet catastrophe. The reason behind the ultraviolet catastrophe is the equipartition theorem. If you remember the previous class, as we have seen that for each degree of freedom, the average energy is the half kT, and therefore for each vibration the average energy associated is 2 into half kT equal to kT. We have seen it in the previous class. I think here you can see it. Yes. Yes, the energy from the law of equipartition of energy, each degree of freedom associates half kT amount of energy, and the energy of a vibrating system, if you compare it with half kx square kinetic potential energy plus half mv square kinetic energy, these two part equivalent to that was half a xi square plus half b xi dot square, where xi is displacement and xi dot is velocity. And for each wave, therefore, the associated energy was 2 into half kT, that is equal to kT. And this equipartition theorem, where every mode of vibration were assumed to have an average energy kT, this actually was the reason behind the failure of the Rayleigh-Jeans law. This is the ultraviolet catastrophe. If you plot a schematic diagram, this is a kind of energy distribution spectrum, say around some blackbody radiation, say around 5000 Kelvin temperature, and in this axis we plot the wavelength in micrometer unit. This part around 0.5 micrometer, that means 5000 angstrom around. This part before some part before 5000 angstrom to and after 5000 angstrom. This part is the visible region, before it is ultraviolet region, and after it is infrared region and other higher regions like that. And we see in the longer wavelength region, the Rayleigh-Jeans theory predicts kind of this line which goes similar to this line, and in this part Rayleigh-Jeans theory works well, and in shorter region it fails, therefore it is known as ultraviolet catastrophe. And these failures laid the foundation for the theory of Planck. Note that in Planck theory, when we develop, we will take some very new considerations which were very much revolutionary concepts in the field of physics, but everything was not wrong in the old theories. Kind of in Wien's theory, the basic form of the Wien's law, Wien's distribution law, was kind of proportional to 1 by lambda to the power 5 into function of lambda t. This function of lambda t is the crucial thing. If you want to write it in terms of frequency, then you will be E nu d nu is something like that. This structure is still valid. There is no harm in it because this was built purely from thermodynamic considerations. Wien's displacement law, that is lambda max multiplied by the equilibrium temperature, will be a constant. In Rayleigh-Jeans law, as we have seen, the number of vibrations per unit volume within the frequency region nu to nu plus d nu is 8 pi nu square by c cube d nu. This is also correct because this was based on classical mechanics and the theory of standing waves. There was no flaw in it. The problem came when the amount of energy associated to each mode of vibration, the average energy, the averaging, that is the statistical distribution came into play, that gave us the problem. From here we go on to the Planck's law, and in Planck's law there are some basic assumptions. What happened? Actually, let me first discuss the things. It is assumed that the enclosure is filled with black radiation. That was correct for everyone, but additionally Planck assumed that this enclosure is also filled along with radiation. There are also molecules of a perfect gas, ideal gas, and this is why there were actually no such molecule. This is just a radiation chamber, but these molecules were assumed to exchange energy, because at that point of time, how energy emits from a matter, the quantum theory of matter, that was not known. So energy is emitted and this energy gives rise to some temperature. That kind of conception was absent at that point of time. At that point of time, the concept of temperature comes from exchange of energy between matter and radiation. Energy falls on a matter, it is heated and it is reflected through the rise in temperature and so on. So the mechanism of energy exchange between matter and radiation field was unknown. Here comes the second part of the assumption. So Planck assumed the resonators of molecules, resonators of molecular dimensions, who cause the exchange of energy between radiation and gas molecules. What is that? That means the radiation falls on the walls of the enclosure. In the walls of the enclosure, there are resonators of molecular dimensions who are actually dipole oscillators. When energy is incident on it, on the resonators absorb the energy, and when the molecules, the gas molecules which were imagined by Planck, the gas molecules collide with the resonator gives the energy to the molecules and the molecules takes the energy from the resonators. In this way, energy exchange is taking place. The resonators absorb energy from radiation and give it to the molecules when they collide. In this way, the equilibrium is established. But what amount of energy is absorbed by the resonators and what amount of energy is emitted by the resonators? And this is the point where the most radical concept of Planck came. It is assumed that Planck simply discarded the continuous emission of energy. That means energy of any amount, energy of any wavelength, energy of any frequency will not be absorbed or emitted. He assumed, and that is the most radical thing, that resonators emit energy only in a certain minimum amount, E or epsilon, whatever you want to say, let it say E, or its integral multiple. That means it may be E, it may be 2E, 3E and so on. I have written RE where R is an integer. For example, if a resonator, it has a say default energy, system energy. its characteristic energy is R into E. Now if it absorbs an energy RF into E, any amount of energy RF, where RF is a fraction, any amount of energy, so RF is a fraction, then the total energy is RE plus RF into E, R plus RF into E. This, with this amount of energy, the resonator will emit nothing. The resonator will remain inactive, quiescent. The will remain inactive, that is not release any energy. And if it further absorbs some energy from the field, so that its energy becomes R plus 1 into epsilon. So this RF, after addition of some additional energy, becomes 1. It is now an integer, not a fraction. R plus 1 into E, then it will release E amount of energy and come back to its original energy state RE. If it absorbs some additional energy and becomes R plus 2 epsilon, then it will release 2 epsilon amount of energy. If it becomes R plus 3 into epsilon amount of energy after absorbing, and then it releases 3 epsilon amount of energy and come back to its original energy R epsilon. So whatever energy is released, it is either in amount of epsilon or 2 epsilon or 3 epsilon. Nothing in between. 1.1 epsilon, 1.5 epsilon, 3.2 epsilon, root 2 epsilon, this amount of energy will not be released. That was the most radical assumption of Planck. So now we calculate the mean energy in Planck's theory. Remember, the mean energy in Rayleigh-Jean's law was taken from the equipartition of energy, that is power vibrator, it was kT. And let us see what happens when you calculate the mean energy according to Planck's theory. And the thing is, the algebra is done explicitly. I have tried to put it in as much revealing as possible. So let N0, N1, N2, N3, etc. are the number of resonators with energy 0. That means 0 energy with N0 resonators, epsilon amount of energy, N1 resonators, N2 number of resonators have 2 epsilon amount of energy, and so on. Nr number of resonators will have R into epsilon amount of energy, where R is an integer. So if N is the total number of resonators, then N must be equal to N0 plus N1 plus N2 plus Nr, etc. And E is the total amount of energy, then E will be N0 into 0 plus N1 into epsilon. The N1 resonators each having epsilon energy, N2 resonators each having 2 epsilon energy, and so on. Nr resonators each having R epsilon energy. So you have total energy equal to epsilon into N1 plus 2 N2 plus 3 N3, etc. as you see it. Now, what is the distribution at that point of time? On the Maxwell distribution, that is the classical statistical distribution, was known, and according to that, Planck wrote it as number of resonators with R epsilon amount of energy, that is Nr, is equal to N0 into e to the power minus R epsilon by kT. This is the statistical distribution, you know, from Maxwell's distribution. You have used it in other cases also. Mathematically say this e to the power minus epsilon by kT equal to y, then it will be N0 into y to the power R. So N1 means N0 y to the power 1, means N0 y. N2 means N0 y square, N3 means N0 y cube, and so on. So total number from 1, N, total number of resonators comes out to be N0 into 1 plus y square dot dot plus y to the power R, and so on going on. And you know, this is a GP series, where infinite GP series, where the sum is given by 1 divided by 1 minus y multiplied by N0 will give you your N equal to N0 into 1 by 1 minus y. Just note, I have not written it here, that y has to be less than 1 to make the series converging. Otherwise, this series, if y is greater than 1, as the power is increasing, y square, y cube, y to the power r and so on, increasing infinitely, this series will not converge. If you want to converge the series, the y has to be less than 1 and y equal to e to the power minus epsilon by kt, which is actually less than 1. So the condition is satisfied. Again we continue. From the expression of energy, you see E divided by epsilon. This is just a mathematical step to write things in a more compact way. So n1 plus 2 n2. So if you use the statistical result, you write it n0 into y, 2 into n0 into y square, 3 into n0 into y cube, r into n0 into y r, and so on. So if you write E by n0 into epsilon is y plus 2y square, and so on. Now, as we have learned in our higher secondary algebra, just we follow some technique of arithmetic progression. We multiply this equation by y and subtract it from the same equation. So this is equation 3, and this is after multiplication by y. Now you collect the like terms, that is, I have written a rearrangement of terms. Collect the like terms, y square, you put them just vertically in a vertical line, y cube, y4, and so on, and then after subtraction you find E divided by n0 into epsilon multiplied by 1 minus y equal to another series. After subtraction you see it. It's a simple algebra. This comes out to be y into 1 minus y, the arithmetic progression series. And this is not arithmetic, this is a GP series, and this is some technique. And so the total energy E is equal to n0 into y by 1 minus y square into epsilon, and the average energy is total energy by total number of resonators. And if you just divide it by n is written here, n means n0 into 1 minus y, so put it here and write, you find out that average energy is y into epsilon by 1 minus y divided by y in the numerator and denominator, and find out to be epsilon divided by e to the power epsilon by kt minus 1. That is your mean energy, which is clearly different from kt, what was obtained in Rayleigh-Jeans law from equipartition, actually used in Rayleigh-Jeans law from equipartition of energy theorem. Now in Rayleigh-Jeans law we have learned that number of vibrations per unit volume within the frequency range nu and nu plus d nu is 8 pi nu square by c cube d nu, and each mode, each of these vibrations involve a mean energy according to Planck law as E mean equal to this one. So total energy density, energy per unit volume, is this expression u nu d nu equal to total number of vibrations into amount of average energy associated in each vibration. So this is the law. Now if we compare this with Wien's law, what is Wien's law? Let us see it in the first. You see, I think I have not written it. It is in the form of lambda. No, yes, this is A. U nu d nu equal to b nu cube and function of lambda by t. Nu cube function of nu by t, nu proportional to nu cube. And now if I come at the Planck law, we see that we have a nu square here. According to Wien's law, it has to be nu cube. It means this epsilon has to be proportional to nu. Again, it was function of nu by t, and here you find function of epsilon by t here. That means if this epsilon is proportional to nu, then it will be e to the power some constant into nu by t, and if here again it is proportional to nu, it will be nu cube, exactly compatible with Wien's general law. Thus, comparing with Wien's law, we can say that epsilon must be proportional to nu. That means E epsilon equal to h nu, or E equal to h nu, we can read it this way, where h is the proportionality constant and known as Planck constant. So u nu d nu equal to this expression in when we put h here and take this expression, and if you convert it in terms of lambda, considering c equal to nu lambda, this will be u lambda d lambda. We will take this up, and this is the famous law due to Planck, the Planck's law of black body radiation. And it is a huge success in explaining the experimental observation. We note that we can derive Wien's law from Planck's law. Like, say, Planck's law says u lambda d lambda is this way expanded. If lambda is large, we can consider, because t is, in case of black body radiation in equilibrium, t is also not a very fractional number, t is also very large, some 1000 Kelvin. So if lambda t is small, it means lambda has to be extremely small. If lambda t is large, it means lambda is large, t is also large. So in case of lambda t small, e to the power hc by k lambda t, this will be much greater than 1. This lambda t small means hc by k lambda t is a large number. So e to the power a large number is much greater than 1. Then we can ignore in the denominator, this 1 can be easily ignored. So e to the power 1 by e to the power hc by lambda kt is nearly equal to 1 by e to the power hc by lambda kt. This one is ignored, means e to the power minus hc by lambda kt. So u lambda d lambda is of this form, proportional to 1 by lambda to the power 5 into e to the power minus c by kt, which was Wien's distribution law. Just have a look at the Wien's distribution law, the actual form. The actual form of Wien's distribution law was this. It was proportional to lambda to the power 5, inversely proportional to lambda to the power 5, and this function of lambda t was e to the power minus c2 by lambda t. In the previous class and in the class note, you will find that. So lambda to the power 5 in the denominator and some constant by lambda t as the distribution function. And in Planck's law, we find lambda to the power 5 in the denominator and e to the power minus some constant by lambda t. That is the Wien's law. So Wien's law is derived from Planck's law when lambda t is extremely small, which is achieved when lambda is large. The lambda t is small, which means when lambda is small. So in the smaller wavelength region, Wien's law applies. In the larger wavelength region, this approximation is not valid. So when the wavelength is large, Wien's distribution law fails. That is what was observed experimentally. Similarly, Rayleigh-Jeans law from Planck's law, if lambda t is large, then hc by lambda kt is very small, because lambda t is large. So in the denominator, you see this is a small number. So now you expand the denominator, e to the power hc by lambda kt minus 1, expand this exponential series 1 plus x by 1 factorial plus x square by 2 factorial and so on, minus 1, this 1 and 1 cancels out, and as hc by k lambda t is a small quantity, so we ignore the square term and other higher order terms. So this comes out to be hc by k lambda t. So u lambda d lambda just takes the form after reductions 8 pi by lambda to the power 4 kt d lambda, which is typically the Rayleigh-Jeans law. So Planck's law gives us a very successful explanation of black body radiation, and we can easily obtain Wien's law and Rayleigh-Jeans law from it. From Planck's law, we can also calculate the Stefan's constant. We can also calculate the Wien's displacement law constant. Lambda max into time, lambda max into equilibrium temperature is a constant, and that constant value can also be determined using Planck's law. So Planck's law is the ultimate theory for black body radiation. So we end here today.